Welcome back, folks. Mark here. I'm sorry for the pause. It's been a few months since I've posted, but getting on with life and getting on with developing the business here in Okinawa, both of which are going great, by the way. Thanks. Today I'm going to talk to you about photography. Of late, we've been having some pretty bad weather. So I've been getting a bit bored, twiddling my fingers, wondering what I can shoot on a day when I can't get out. And I had a great amount of fun the other day shooting smoke photography. So I'm going to take you through the steps that I went through in order to realise some of these images here in a very small and compact studio, office, apartment, and just show you how I go about shooting that, the equipment that I use, the setup that I put together in a very small space that anyone can put together in their home using material that doesn't actually cost a lot of money, outside of the standard photography gear that I'm going to show you guys. So today we're going to go through the gear that I use, we're going to go through the settings and how I shoot this style of imaging, and then I'm going to quickly run through using Lightroom and Photoshop just a very quick touch on the editing and some of the ideas that you can do with editing smoke photography in order to get some pretty fantastic results. Okay, so let's get into it. Obviously, smoke photography, I need smoke. So first off, I'm going to be using, for this particular shoot, some little incense sticks that I found in the local supermarket. Literally a box of these things. There's about 300 sticks in there, I think. They cost me $2, $3, all right? Not very big, they don't burn for very long, but the bonus is, the good thing, that they smell of cherry blossoms. So if nothing else, at least the apartment's going to be smelling nice at the end of it. So cherry blossom, incense sticks, cool beans. Camera wise, I'm going to be shooting on my trusted and loved Canon EOS 5 DSR, 50.6 megapixels, and the fact that we're shooting a relatively close distance using a Laowa 60mm f2.8 2:1 macro means I can really squeeze out that massive resolution from this camera for this style of imaging. So that always lends itself really well to that. Okay. You'll see, now you don't normally need to use a tripod for this kind of imaging, but I choose to. I just really like to nail the focus and just have it clear in my mind that my focus point is exactly where I set it, and we're all good to go. I've got the L plate here that I use on my camera. It's actually cemented to the camera. I don't know if you can see that. It is actually cemented with Yoo-hoo cement or something. This is the L bracket from Three-Legged Thing, rock solid, and it just lives on my camera permanently. So I can't use a battery grip, but I've got a whole bunch of batteries that I'll just change out every now and again. So yeah, I'll be using that in either the portrait mode or landscape mode, depending on how I'm going to set up the shot. But 50.6 megapixels of wonderfulness for the smoke photography. Okay. Now, lighting, there's a couple of lighting needs for this. First of all, I'm actually going to be lighting the column of smoke using one of these. It's a Lume Cube. I don't know if you've ever come across these things. They're about 1 inch square, little LED light units, okay, and you just pump up through the steps, massively bright, okay. There's about 10 different power settings. I only need to use it on a relatively low power setting because all I need to do is just illuminate the, let's turn that off, it's hurting my eyes. Just need to illuminate the column of smoke that comes out of the incense sticks when they're lit. Okay, now that's to light the column of smoke. In order to actually freeze the action, I'm going to be using a Godox AD200, okay, but you can use any speedlight. I'm going to be using this one particularly because it comes with the little kit that I bought it with. It comes with a set of barn doors, so I can really direct the light to exactly where I want to have it, and in this case onto the column of smoke. And again, I can direct the column of smoke using a honeycomb grid that just fits into the barn door area there. Okay, so that's pretty wild. To trigger it, I'm going to be using the Godox X1T /C for Canon, because I'm shooting with my EOS, and that's just going to be able to trigger my flash remotely from on top of my camera. So all good stuff. Let's get into the setup. I'm going to show you how I've got this whole thing set up in my small studio using a very small desk, and from that I will then also go into the camera settings and show you how I shoot. Cool stuff. Well, this is the setup. As you can see, I've got the Lume Cube over there, and I have actually made one small difference. What I've done is I've created my own kind of rudimentary, very basic, very homemade snoot. And that's just a way to really direct the light onto the smoke in order to light the smoke up to facilitate focus. Lume Cube, if you're watching, we could really use a snoot. Good stuff. Alright, so that's basically going to sit over there, and that's going to light up the column of smoke that's going to come off of my incense sticks, which are here. Okay, over behind me here we have the Godox AD200, the flash system set up. That's going to be set to full power, 1:1, 100% power, because on my settings, what I'm going to be using to start with, just to see, I'm going to be at f16. Okay, I want a nice amount of depth to get all of the swirls and all of the information in the smoke. ISO is going to be at 160, just to bring up the highlights just a little bit more. And my shutter speed, I'm going to be just under the maximum sync speed for Canon, which is 1/200th of a second. I'm going to be shooting at 1/160th of a second. Okay, so everything's going to be controlled power wise from the flash from my trigger here. All I need to do now is set my incense sticks on the go, get them lit, set up my Lume Cube, and off we go to the races. We can start to take a few shots. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and light the incense sticks. I'm just using a regular little kitchen lighter here. If there's any, there we go. Get them lit. So we've got a really nice, you can see it maybe in the light from the Lume Cube, we've got a really nice amount of smoke coming up out of the incense sticks now. I've turned the camera down to to f11. We were set at f16. I've turned it down to f11. It was just a little bit too dark on f16, and yeah, getting much better results now. In the lower part of the smoke, you always get these very kind of like, almost like just vertical lines. But as you go higher up into the smoke, what you'll find is that those patterns and twirls, they start to get a bit more extreme, a bit more kind of like artistic, as it were. I've been shooting some of the shots lower in the column and up higher in the column. I think I've got more than enough, so we're going to end the actual photography phase now, and we're going to quickly jump onto the computer and check out a little bit of editing. Okay, well, we finished shooting. I've actually loaded the images already into the computer just to save a bit of time. And one thing I'll say is we're using a macro lens. We're at relatively close distance, so your plane of focus is, or your depth of field, sorry, is going to be quite reduced. So when you are shooting, don't be surprised if some of your images are out of focus, because with regards to your plane of focus, that smoke line is moving backwards and forwards all the time. It's all going swirling all over the place. And one of the reasons for shooting such high resolution is it allows me to crop certain areas out of the image and still retain a good amount of resolution. But what makes life a lot easier, I believe, for the shooting style that suits me, is to have that pointing stick. Yep, so when you can set focus, you've got your little pointy stick, you put it in where the main gist of the smoke is rising, you set your focus there, and you should be good to go. And then it's just a matter of, I don't need then to look through the viewfinder all the time. I'll look close to the viewfinder, but then I can use the whole of my vision to see what is arriving in the focal zone with regards to the movements of smoke, and then boom, I just hit, and I'll hopefully get a higher instance of keepers as opposed to hit and miss if I didn't really see what's going on through the viewfinder. But that, again, that's just my personal preference on the way to shoot these kind of images. Let's jump into Lightroom now. I'm going to take a look and see what we've got. but also going to show you guys how to do a little bit of editing using both Lightroom and Photoshop, and then also just manipulating images to come up with scenes that could be pretty funky. Alright, so let's get into that. It's going to be fun. So here we are, we're in Lightroom, and these are all the shots that I've deemed to be relatively okay from the shoot from the smoke that we've just done. If I just open this first one here, you can see things that we don't actually see when we're on the shoot. You get these little white specks sometimes in the shot, and these I think are actually ash from the incense sticks that rises up with the smoke. So obviously I don't want to use any of those, but if you can look at things like let's find it. That's a really nice kind of suave kind of design there. Nice kind of, okay. When you start looking at things like this, you really start to see the intricate motion, or the flow as it were, of the smoke, all of the little wisps and swirls. Now there is actually quite a lot of smoke in these images, and that's because I'm burning 4 incense sticks at the time. Obviously if I was burning 1, there'd be a lot less smoke, but it's quite a lot, the little ash bits and pieces there. But again, there's ways to clear all of that up. Okay, what I want to do is I'm going to use just one particular image that I saw earlier on. Oh, that's quite nice. Okay, we might use that one a little bit later just to show you something else that we can do with the edits. But there is one particular image that I saw earlier on that I would like to play around with, and you'll see exactly why I decided on that image, if I can find it again. That's the trouble with these, with these kind of images. It's okay, here we go. This is the image that I want to play around with. Now at the moment it doesn't really look too much, right? It doesn't look like too much because we're not in an editing software, but bear with me, you're going to be absolutely blown away. So let's just get rid of some of these. Let's just play around with the levels a little bit. I'm going to go to develop here, into the develop mode, and all I really want to do is I just want to get rid of these white specks. Okay, so let's just go to the repair tool. Let's click over that one there, and let's click over this one here. Hopefully that'll get rid of them. There's nothing really much else that I'm too worried about because the rest is going to be done in Photoshop. Let's just give the highlights a bit of a bump, and the darks just crush a little bit the blacks, just so that we know that we can guarantee that we've got rid of those blacks. Okay, I'm actually happy with this as it is at the moment because we haven't finished. We're going to go into Photoshop and we're going to play around with it in there. Okay, so let's do that. So here we are in Photoshop. I've got my image open that I've exported from Lightroom. And what I'm going to do just for a bit of fun is just to show you how when you look at the images, don't always just look at the intricate designs or the intricate lines of the smoke, which as you can see here I've blown it up to 200%, and you can see all of the intricacies of the swirling smoke. Lots of amazing little patterns. Okay, lots of you can get lost in that. It's like a maze. Okay, but let's just go back down. Here we go. All right. Without going too crazy, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go select all, and I'm going to copy that. Okay, and I've opened up another image or another canvas which is twice the size, only in the width, than the master image. So I'm going to go ahead and paste that onto one side, and I'm going to move that over to the right hand side of the canvas. Okay, now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to paste it again, and then I'm going to flip the image horizontally that way to get what would be the left hand. And if you look at this now, this is going to look pretty damn crazy. I mean, that could be, to all extents and purposes, some crazy rider of the apocalypse. You've got your horses here, the legs of the horses coming down here, maybe it's galloping. I would suggest maybe that this is chest armour for a female, perhaps, who knows. But this could be Bodicea or something like that. So it's pretty wild that you come up with, you get these really crazy, intricate, mind-bending designs just out of a swirl of smoke. And what you could also do if you wanted to take this even further, this artwork is the kind of stuff that you can look at time and time again and find something new. We've got what could be this rider here. It looks a little bit like Darth Vader, actually. Let's have a look at this. This is going a little bit. Look at this. The weird face of the rider, that's pretty wild. But look here in the middle, you've got this other almost kind of like figurine, I guess, as it might be, with wings. Even looks like a pelvic bone there. That's crazy. Okay, I mean, like I said, you can just go absolutely nuts with this stuff and find new things every day. But I'm just going to take this a little bit step further. Okay, we're going to go edit, select all, edit copy. All right, and I've got another canvas over here. And what it is, if we look at the size of this, image size, what I've done on this one is I've retained the height on that new canvas to match this, the width, okay, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it and flip it on its side, but I'm going to double the height of this and call that the width of the new canvas, okay. So that's what we've got here. Okay, so let's go ahead and paste what we've got here. Okay, that is the two images that are combined from the earlier action. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and transform this. I'm going to rotate it, this time 90 degrees counterclockwise, so it's going to occupy the left side on the vertical of this. Okay, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to duplicate that layer. It's going to give us another identical layer, just like copying it, I guess. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to transform this as well. I'm going to flip it horizontally. Okay, and you'll see where I'm going with this. Now that it's flipped, I'm just going to drag that and occupy the right hand side of the canvas. And hey presto, you come up with this crazy new design. That is, again, it's just a mixture of so many different swirls and motions of smoke. I mean, it's just definitely something out of the 60s. And it's art, you know, so it's just one way on a bored day, nice and rainy. And so, yeah, what we can do from there, if we were to combine all of that, for example, merge visible. It's going to take a while. This is 286 megabytes, all right. So now let's go ahead and let us, for example, adjustments, let's invert it, okay. So we're going to turn the blacks to white, and there we go. Look at that, crazy stuff. It's almost like a negative. And if we wanted to get even crazier, okay, let's just go back, undo invert. But let's say that we wanted to change the color of the smoke. Quite simply, all we can do down here is we can go to gradient overlay. We can go in here, we can check whichever gradient we want. Okay, change the blend mode to overlay, and there we go. We change the color of the smoke to whatever pattern we decide to take from in this palette of colors here. They can be nice and suave, they can be crazy strong. It's all down to what it is that you're trying to create as a creator, and that's the fantastic thing of this. Just like photography, it is to your tastes. You can do exactly what you want. If that's the art that you want to create, then that's the art you want to create. Okay, so step back. Okay, cool. But that's the image that I've ended up with, and to me, I think the job is done. So there we go, folks. Smoke photography looks pretty awesome on the desktop. It's a fun thing to do on a day when you can't get outside. It takes minutes to set up, and literally it doesn't cost, obviously apart from the photographic gear, it doesn't really cost a lot of money. A couple of bits of felt, you know, and some incense sticks. Such a lot of fun, okay, and it's just something that you can do just to keep yourself busy while you're waiting for the sunshine to come out until you can hit the highway again. Okay, so keep it tuned, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notifications button so that you'll be notified as and when a new video comes up, and I'm hoping that that's going to be within the next week. I've got a couple of things that I need to put together, so all together, I'm back. Keep it peeled, keep it real, keep on shooting. Catch you later, guys. Cheers. Take care.